So good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our beautiful viewers around the globe. And welcome to another series of intimate conversations. And today's guest, we have the gorgeous, look at her, isn't she just gorgeous? Jane Gruebner. So welcome, Jane.
Thank you, Mandy. It's just a huge privilege to be here. And I love the work that you do and that you offer a platform to all these absolutely beautiful souls who are creating a real difference in the world. So thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, it's such a joy for me to sit with beautiful ones like yourself and hear your stories, because often we can see, posting things out there and watch your journey and all of that, but to actually sit and have a beautiful heart to heart and get to know you on a deeper level is really beautiful. So I love it. I'm always enjoying every single one that we do. And it's just a gorgeous space. So I will just read your intro and introduce you more to those who don't know you. The 1960s and 70s shaped Jane's questioning nature, and it's her questioning nature that has fueled Jane's personal and professional journey of evolution. Her path has brought her to being the founder and creator of the MasterKeys, which is dedicated to supporting today's modern healer to flourish by offering new quantum energy methods that facilitate deeper transformations and healings for their clients and themselves. Her training began with Reiki. She continued from there to immerse herself into energy work and informational medicine for the mind, body, spirit. Her awareness and dedication of this work is woven into the very fabric of her being. Jane's training, education, and qualifications include Diploma of Natural Healing Sciences, Practitioner in Aura-Soma, Color Therapy, System for the Soul, the BodyTalk System, Animal Talk System, Linking Awareness, the Reconnective Healing and International teacher of MindScape and The MasterKeys. Her commitment is now in Pass It On, to support those who support others, the practitioners, coaches, therapists, counselors, healers who are at the coalface. They are the modern healer. They are the people who feels most passionate about ensuring that their evolution is supported. Like many people, Jane sees that global and community collaboration is our way forward. This is how Jane wishes to play her part. Support being offered to the modern healer through education, inspiration, and innovation. Beautiful. Lots going on there, Jane. Lots and lots. And we'll get into the MasterKeys because I know that's your real predominant at the moment, and that's a beautiful thing. But first of all, were you an aware, awake child, in your earlier years? Like, what was the dynamics around that in your family? And if not, what also was the dynamics in your family? And what brought you into this journey that you've been on?
Thank you, Mandy. It's the absolutely pivotal question, I know, for everyone. And of course, we each have our own story and our own journey, which we understand, of course, when we're older, is perfect. It may not seem perfect at the time, but it is, because it gets us to where we are and where we're meant to be. So, yes, as a child, I lived right out near the chateau, actually, in the central part of the North Island here in New Zealand. And we literally had a house on a hill, and it was miles from anyone. So I had no one to play with. And I would see beings of light everywhere. They were friends. Of course, I thought that everyone saw this. And in those days, they probably said, oh, she's just got a little imaginary friend. How sweet. But of course, what we now can term beings of light were very real, and they were with me, and I never felt alone. From, you know, the beings of light, I had Teddy, and I had my dog, and my mum. My dad was in those days a forest ranger, so he was away a lot of the time. So it was mainly my mum and myself. I've been very blessed to have generally a happy nature. So my childhood, although was like each of us in our own way, had many, many challenges, I've always had a very positive approach and a little bit of a Pollyanna attitude, probably, truth be known. But these beings of light, about being aware and awake, they were with me for many, many, many years. And as a child, when we moved into the town in Rotorua in those days, I remember wondering why all the adults weren't acknowledging them.
Right.
And finally realized that they couldn't actually see them. They didn't know they were there. And so, like many people, I lived a little bit with, you know, a foot in both worlds.
Yeah.
And this was where my challenge was. I found it extremely difficult because I really just wanted to be in this world, and having to be in the 3D world and deal with all the issues that, of course, were the challenge. So, but when I was 14, I literally just shut it down, because I would be looking at somebody and I would see faces and faces coming and going. Of course, in those days, I didn't realize that I was probably connecting with past lives. I would see, I'd walk into a room and there were beings everywhere, or I would just say people.
Yeah.
So I could not actually deal with it. 14, it had to go.
Yeah.
Way too challenging.
Could you actually shut it down though? I know I tried to, and it was always sort of nudging at me, you know, in that age group too, because that was
You're
hard.
right. You're right. I think what happened was I literally sort of shut off here.
Yeah.
As much as I could, so I wasn't actually seeing anything to the extent that I was. But yeah, throughout my life, of course, and particularly various experiences, the presence was made known to me. Even at 5, I was in a car. It was a V-dub, you know, one of the old V-dubs.
Yeah.
Sitting in the back with my auntie driving down a gravel road. And out of nowhere, I literally heard this voice, Jane, get from the back seat into the front seat and put the safety belt on. Now, in those days, we never wore safety belts. And it was only because it was a European car that there was a safety belt. And so I did it and climbed over the back seat, you know, into the front. And as soon as I put that safety belt on, boom, we went into a spin and we flipped. And I kept saying at the hospital, oh, that nice man, it was so good that he was there. And he told me to get into the front seat. And of course, they were thinking, poor little girl, she's had a bump.
Yeah.
So there were lots of instances throughout my life where I felt incredibly supported and guided. Absolutely.
Beautiful. I was just thinking, you know, that's funny you say all that, because I was thinking the other day, and randomly, I don't even know why this thought popped into my head, but how in my early years as a child, there weren't seatbelts in the cars.
No.
We didn't have that. We were safe as though. I mean, we never had any accidents, thank goodness. But yeah, out of it, It was sort of outrageous when I thought about that. It was like, wow. Yeah.
Well, I don't think the cars went fast enough, Mandy.
No, they probably didn't, actually.
And there weren't that many on the road.
No. Oh gosh, that's a long time ago, isn't it?
But
Well,
yeah.
Jane, that's great stuff. So you learnt probably how to trust them then too, in that moment, more so.
Yeah, very, very much. And interestingly enough, at a very pivotal time of my life, when after I had actually shut things down for me so that I could literally cope with life, the next big experience that I had, and I was having many little experiences, including as a child for many, many, many years. I would be going to sleep, and then they would come and get me. And I do remember one time saying, I just want to go to sleep. I don't want to go anywhere tonight. No, you must come. You have things to learn. You have things to know. And off I went. But that dissolved very much in my teenage years. And I actually got incredibly depressed when I was a teenager. So it's interesting how it coincided with the disconnect.
Yes, I was just going to say, yes.
And I look at a lot of teenagers nowadays, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So, parents weren't aware, like did you ever say to them, obviously you must have, and they thought, oh yeah, just a
I was, great question. I was very fortunate as far as neither parent actually quashed me in that way anyway. My dad, because he spent so much time out in the bush, and I was incredibly blessed to actually go out with him sometimes. So I grew up with this connection to nature, and that the whole feeling that there was something greater, and I was part of it. So I was very blessed in that way, because when I look back on it, that has given me a very solid springboard. It's given me something solid. It's a little bit like the inner compass. It just actually brings me back to self.
Yes.
When all the distractions are out there, or life or the world gets very fragmented, I was able to come back into self.
Yeah.
However, it doesn't mean to say that the path was straight.
Yeah, I know,
Far from it. Far from it, yeah.
Oh, I get that though. I was so blessed in that way with my dad as well. I'd go out to the farm with him, and I'd just go and sit in the bottom of the bush, and it always now, all of that, just I know that's my place. That's where I go when I need to really set myself again and reset. But nature's the place, isn't it? The balancer.
Totally. And we now are seeing, of course, that scientifically they are proving the validation and the importance of being in nature, and just how it does affect us, our physiology and our mental and emotional well-being. We know this innately because we've experienced it, but there's a lot of people, of course, as we know, who are living more and more in cities, and they're actually having to be educated. It's one thing that I'm noticing, what we perhaps either A, of our generation, but B, also in our lifestyle, we're very blessed to have access to.
Yes.
A lot of people in the world do not have access. And so this is where I think people like ourselves, we're literally having to create a bridge.
Yeah.
And assist people across that bridge so that they can experience perhaps a different reality in life. Yeah, very much so.
Beautiful. I know, I remember just a random conversation, but this child saying that he'd never seen a cow. Lives in Auckland, never seen a cow. Like, it was like, what? Like, actual. I really couldn't get my head around it. But obviously, people don't go into the countryside. They're so in their little boxy bits. But that's, life for them. That's all good. But yeah, it was quite a shock.
Absolutely. I remember when I was in South America, and this beautiful woman that I met there, and she asked me and said, Jane, she said, have you ever seen a rainbow? And I said, oh, yes. I said, I think I'm probably from the land of rainbows, with the showers we have. And she said, really? So they're real? And I said, absolutely they are. And so, yet another example of, I guess, how blessed we have been in New Zealand and Aotearoa to have access to nature.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've done lots of training, Jane, and it's led you through, obviously, we always add a little bit more and a little bit more, don't we? And then we do what we do with it in our own way. So how did the MasterKeys, explain a bit about all that and how it all came about and where it's heading and all of that, because it's a very exciting part for you at this time.
Well, it is, and you're absolutely right, Mandy. We're in some ways we're a little bit like a tumbleweed, but we tend to gather along our path what resonates for us.
Yes.
Learnings and the wisdoms. And I'm very much in the pass it on phase at this moment, very much pass it on. Recognizing the challenge, back in the day of having these experiences for myself and not realizing or knowing whether anyone else had these experiences. Right. And it actually, thanks to the magazine, the Rainbow Network, that came out. Remember the Rainbow Network?
Oh, that was such a great thing. It was great.
It was a lifesaver. It was a lifesaver for me, because for the first time, and I think it was in the 80s that it was available. I realized that other people actually had similar experiences.
Right, yes.
So that experience showed me how important it is that we have community and we support each other by speaking our truth, by being and sharing. Absolutely. And that was very, very pivotal. Of course, that was Catherine Redden's mother that actually started that. So that was incredible, because at that time, I then started to realize that other people were doing stuff with what they could see and hear and feel. And so that showed me the potential of a different way to walk through my life, instead of being in the corporate world, which I made myself be in the corporate world to cope. And it was actually a car accident that then gave me that cosmic tap on the shoulder and went, yeah, you need to go that way.
Right.
And so with all the trainings and the learnings for each of us, it simply allowed me to expand my awareness, expand and build muscle and learn and experience and experiment. And feeling so incredibly blessed and humbled for a client to actually come and be on the table.
Yes.
And actually want me to assist them in some way. And just phenomenal. and that includes animals, because I've trained and worked with animals as well. So it was when the training of the MindScape came about, and I started to facilitate and teach people how to connect consciously with their abilities, that gave me a much greater skill set to be able to work remotely.
Right. Yeah.
Didn't need the client. That shifted me from actually having to have the client there physically. So
right.
when COVID came about, so many of us, experienced shutdown in what we were working with. I was able to carry on because I knew how to work remotely, and I had clients that were quite comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And then what was happening, as well as the remote work, I started to be guided with new ways of working. And this new way, and basically, I was kind of getting the guidance and taking notes. So I started to work with my clients with this new way of working. And I could not believe the differences that it was making. Predominantly a lot of people who were stuck, who were having repeat patterns in their life, who couldn't get rid of trauma. And we worked with this method that's actually now called the Me method, Me being E-double-E. And so what it's all about is showing that a lot of the time we are thwarted in our life because we have these three inner operating systems of mind, ego, essence, who all have something to say about how we should be living our life, or what we should or shouldn't be. There's that should word. Yeah. And of course, this is creating conflict, it creates confusion, it creates chaos. So working with this method, which actually is metaphysical in a journeying, the client actually gets to have the ahas, the insights, the transformations, and the shifts with their consciousness.
Yes.
So I was able to literally talk people through this. No hands-on required.
Yeah.
No in-person required. You know what I'm talking about, Andy.
Yeah.
But what I was given was that this system was required because other practitioners, coaches, counselors can actually utilize it as a kind of an add-on or a support to the current work they do. And it brings in metaphysics and brings in psychotherapy, neuroscience, Eastern philosophy, ancient wisdoms.
Beautiful.
So it's truly awe-inspiring. And one of the pivotal quotes that I'm actually going to read out because I wrote it down. I thought, it might come up today. It was Krishnamurti, and I'm sure many people will be familiar with it. It was quite pivotal for me because it really piqued my curiosity and my questioning. And it, as Krishnamurti says, in oneself lies the whole world. And if you know how to look and learn, then the door is there and the key is in your hand. Nobody on earth can give you either that key or the door to open except yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful.
So it just inspires me so much when I read that it made me realize, from the heart, that I wanted to assist people to feel empowered, their own connection, to give their own abilities. So that's why the MasterKeys really is about giving systems, tools, and techniques to practitioners, therapists, coaches, healers, the modern healer.
Yeah.
to just literally give them some more ways, very simple ways, quick ways and effective ways that they can pass on to their client.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did one day with you while you were up here in Whangarei, and you're coming back up the beginning of October. And this is going to come out just after that, which is a thing. But anyway, and one of the things that I did notice was it was very simple, just very simple. And one of the other things that I just love about you is your gratitude. You are so grateful for every inch, just everything that you experience, that you're sharing, that the people that come into your field and all of that, Jane. It's just beautiful to witness. And you express that so openly and so deeply, and constantly. It's like you're just constantly in gratitude. And that's something I really love about you, and inspires me to voice it more, because I am in gratitude all the time. I know it, I feel it, but I don't speak it out a lot, if you understand me. But you tend to do that a lot, and it's lovely to hear.
Thank you, Mandy. And it was wonderful to have you along on that workshop. And of course, the amazing thing is, a lot of because these workshops are for the modern healer, for practitioners and coaches only. I'm not actually sharing this work with the public. That if people want to coach or learn how to be a facilitator, so they can run the workshops for the public. That's part of what the MasterKeys is about as well. My focus, amazingly, through COVID, the message came through so clearly that I was to support those who support others.
Yes. Yeah.
That was the message. And so, for 18 months in particular, that really, it's my sole focus.
Yes.
That's soul. I love soul as an S-O-L-E, but, as an S-O-U-L as well. And that just fills my heart. It fills my heart, absolutely. Yeah. And it's, we all know this. We all know this stuff. We all know it. But, what I'm coming to recognize more and more is that because my training predominantly is about energy healing, and I've been exploring what energy is, what it's all about, how it works, why it works, looking at it, this way, and looking at it that way, and looking at it this way. and that's my curiosity. But also way back when I heard the phrase, you create your life, I went, get out of here. You're joking. We create our life. And that piqued my interest.
Me too, Jane. And really took me a lot to get my head around that, because we were so used to the blame game and everything's doing it to us and all of that. And when you actually really truly get that and anchor that into the body and know that, your whole life just transforms. It's a big thing to wrap your head around, but it's the truth.
and this is the beautiful work that you offer as well, unraveling those habits and the patterns and the belief systems. We're so blessed that we can work in that way. But I think quantum is probably my new best friend. I've almost become a bit of a quantum geek, really, because science definitely was not my best subject at school, but I had such a curiosity. And when I learned about the observer effect, and I was very blessed to be in Italy at a conference with Dr. Eric Pearl, and I met Lynn McTaggart, of course, the field and the intention experiment. And so you know, this was sort of like 20 years ago, no, about 15 years ago. And to be exploring the fact that science now is quantifying and validating spirituality, for want of a better word.
Yes.
It just buzzes me.
I know, me too. And I've always been that curiosity. You know, it's like that just has charged me all the time. I want to know more, and dive deeper into that. Okay, so that's that answer. Now what? You know, what else?
Exactly.
And oh my God, yeah, it just buzzes me out. The quantum, the energy, all of that. It's just so cool. And science now coming in on board of all of that is just you know, confirming for those outside of us, say maybe, you know, that this actually is how it is. This is how it works. This is, and once you get to understand how it works, you know, you can really start transforming your life, because you then start playing with the energy of creation and knowing that, yeah, okay, if I create this, and the powerfulness. And what I noticed was how powerful we were in like what we might create in our body, illness, disease. You know, I was a breaking bone girl. I broke many bones throughout my life. And I realized that the gain behind that was to give me time out from abusers. So when I broke a bone, then I could have some rest and they would leave me alone. And so that was my secondary gain in it. But when I realized how powerful I was in actually doing that to myself, creating, you know, a space by breaking bone, I mean, God, that just blew my mind. It's still, even today, I sort of think, oh my goodness, how drastic. But when I realized that, and I thought, gosh, if I change that from that destructive type of abuse in myself to a very powerful, you know, positive, constructive way of living, and using that power, because that's what I saw it as powerful, and totally transformed my life, and you know, able to teach from that too and help others. But yeah, it's great stuff. It's exciting.
It is. And you see, the cool thing is we know it, we understand, we get it. Then the question is, how can we assist our clients to get it? How can we empower our clients to then work with themselves, to give them some tools? And this is where the MasterKeys comes in, because it has got tools and techniques to pass on to the modern healer. And this is what the modern healer is all about: to educate, to inspire, to empower. This is what the modern healer is all about. And that is so, you know, it's no longer, as we know, it's no longer the days of, oh, just come over here and I'll fix you.
Absolutely, Jane. And I love that you took on that word. And I know that was gifted in when you got the whole, you know, you brought forward this quantum, the MasterKeys, is to use that word modern healer, modern. And it's like that there was the clincher in many things for me when I read that, because it was like, yes, we are not the same anymore. It's a different way of seeing, being, and experiencing. It's not I can heal you, it's you healing you, and we can assist that, you know. So definitely change. And I just thought that was very clever. Add that word.
Thank you, because you know, all of this really, it's been divinely guided. And the wording and phrases, I have to say, and I'll share, I remember when I basically got the nudge. It was like, well, come on, here's a portfolio of all these techniques and tools now that you've been working with. And they're all energy. It's energy medicine, informational medicine. It's about shifting consciousness. And like I say to you know, in the workshops, all we have to do is, how do we shift consciousness? Think of a great big bowl of water. What is needed in that water to shift that water? one single drop, just one drop. And that structure of the water is completely changed. This is what Masaru Emoto, of course, has shown with all his beautiful water crystals. So this is the what if, you know, like yourself and many, many others. We need to be educating our clients, but we have to empower them, and then we've got to give them something that they can work with.
Absolutely.
And this is where, you know, the MasterKeys, there's two pathways. One is the gold pathway, which is specifically where the modern healer, coaches and practitioners can literally learn new tools and techniques to complement whatever they're working with in their clinic and their treatment. And the other is the silver pathway. Now, that is specifically for the modern healer's own personal and professional evolution.
Right.
With that, and of course, that was the one that you attended, and that was cool. That was the Ignite Intuitive Intelligence. Not ignite your intuition, but ignite intuitive intelligence.
Beautiful.
And it's very, very different energy, because a lot of people associate intuition with a hunch or a gut feeling.
Yeah.
This is about empowering the modern healer to be able to consciously activate and call in and gather that wisdom and that information and to the holographic blueprint of their client. Boom.
Yeah.
And there's all the information waiting there. So it's like, here's how you access it. Here, these are the steps that you take. Love it, love it.
Yeah. Me too. I love it when you know these things drop in, because it's not like you're imagining it. It's not like you've I mean, it's definitely all connected. It's us in a higher frame, but it's not this human mind thinking up something and then going, oh, that'd be cool. It's like that just absolutely drops in and you go, oh my goodness. Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so cool. I love that.
And I was teaching in Wellington a few months ago, and there was this beautiful woman there, highly intuitive. And the thing for her was she was receiving so much information, but she didn't know how to filter it. She didn't know what to do with it. She didn't know how to engage it with her client. Yes. So therefore, this is part of what the workshop's about. It's to learn how to trust it, you know, learn how to actually access it at will. So not have to rely on something dropping in, actually consciously.
Or sitting in meditation for 20 minutes and looking for the answer, waiting for it to drop in. And
that's right. So this is really building the muscle of our whole mind with universal mind. It's very exciting, and it is for the modern times, because I think we've all noticed that everyone wants to have things happen faster and quicker and easier.
Absolutely, eh? Yeah. I laugh. We get impatient waiting for an elevator, don't we? You know, it's like, how long is it going to take? You know, we're waiting for the ding. Yeah.
When we're working with consciousness, it's there. It is there. All we're having to do is to actually have a path, and that's what I am. It's called the intuition access process, and that literally has the steps, so that the modern healer can just go, closing their eyes, boom, they're there.
Yeah.
And so we need to be supporting the upcoming generations and share the skill sets and the ways that we've learned.
Yes,
pass it on.
Absolutely. And that's, I think, I used to witness a lot of teachers holding their students for many, many, many years, never really empowering. It was always about, coming back to me because I've got the information, but like the minister at the church, and now it's like that's so changed. And I mean, there's probably still people out there doing it that way, but today it's not about that. It's really about helping and assisting others to empower themselves and bringing their life back on board for them in a powerful way instead of relying on everyone else. And it's a really beautiful thing. I'm loving it. I'm loving watching the transformation too in this, new, we call it the new energy state that we're all in, and what's moving the planet. And it's exciting to see all the new vibrant stuff coming through, and like those things just dropping in, and here it is, bang.
Exactly. It's all there. It's all there. And this is where, with the COVID time, like many people, I was just having to sit.
Yeah.
And so the space allowed for this new way, these new ways, plural,
Yes.
of working to come in. Because we know from an energy perspective, we all know we are an energy vibration signature. We all have our own holographic blueprint. We also know that if there is something that is vibrating here and something vibrating here, this will actually automatically want to go up to try and meet that vibration.
Yeah.
And this is why there has to be new consciousness ways of working with our clients coming through, because we know our consciousness is shifting. It also means that if we have a client who is vibrating here and there is a methodology vibrating here, they will not come down. No. And that's why, as you know, Mandy, we have to have these new ways of working coming through, because everyone will go to the right healer, the right practitioner, according to where they're resonating. There's no good, bad, better, or worse.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We have to be upskilling. We have to expand. We have to be creating those opportunities and consciousness, working with consciousness.
Yes.
Is really, that's where it's at.
It is. And I think those on the planet that aren't ready to or are resisting change in any way are finding it more and more a struggle, getting harder and harder to stay in that flow that they already are in. And this is, we are nature, we are change, we change all the time, and trying to slot into something and just stay there because it feels comfortable is not who we are. So it becomes a struggle to even just stay there, and I love the courage of those who have, and it's often when, you hit that space where it's just, I've had enough now. I've just had enough. What can I do to shift this? What can I do to change my life and change my world? Because this isn't working. And often it's not until that final moment where they surrender. And I know I did, I had to surrender many times to allow that shift to happen rather than resisting it and finding the uncomfortable comfortable, and stay there, because it's not fun.
Absolutely. And I've just written it down, because I always have my trusty pen and my pieces of paper. Because we live in duality. We live in duality, and we know that this is part of the soul journey. Duality is definitely one of the aspects that I like to strongly bring in, both for the modern healer when we're in workshops, but also for my clients in sessions. And I use this example.
Yes.
Okay, here's life. Here's life. And this is where people aim for.
Yeah.
But where do we experience growth?
In the center.
Uncomfortable.
True, yes. Okay.
Have we ever grown in here? Really? We do tend to be extended. And yeah, the aim is to be in there and to be able to actually navigate between the two. But so many people in life are swinging. They're swinging. And this also represents pain and pleasure.
Yeah, it does.
And so if we can give tools to our clients to navigate the uncomfortable, then we're empowering them.
Yeah.
That's the gift.
Yes.
The gift.
Absolutely. It is. And it's interesting, like just ran a 2-day intensive workshop here, and and then looking through their patterns and what's been the distractions, all the things. When we went into it all and everyone shared, there was always that part that was, so it might have brought up what was showing up for them, how they've run life and what the patterns were, and the sabotage and the pain and all the things that went with it. And then there was this, but also I am this as well. And there was this other side that was like the mirror and the opposite of what they've just put here, over here. And so there was this confusion, and I said, but that's how it always will be. We're in this duality. So you're going to see both shades, of that. I love it. I just love it. I love when we start unpacking and discovering more about who we are, how we do this, what we're about, and where we're, who knows where we're heading. But
exactly, and that's why, because of the future, which is interesting, we, personally, I see our role very much like yourself, to educate and empower clients, to give them tools to navigate so that they can cope, but that they can not only cope, but they learn how to actually have that conscious inner connection with self. And this is where the TMN, the me method comes in, because so many people will not, we hear people say, I this. I was only speaking with someone yesterday, I this. And I said, so who's the I here?
Yeah.
And our clients, a lot of the time, that they are not recognizing, because we're taught, aren't we, to own everything in our life. But if we can actually recognize that we have 3 inner operating systems of mind, ego, and essence, it's, well, who's driving your car at the moment?
Yes.
Are they qualified to be driving the car at the moment?
Often they're not.
Exactly. And this is where mind loves to get there behind the wheel and just drive life. And it's all da 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 da. And we have to be able to access mind consciously and find out and discover and explore those limiting belief systems. And so many people live in a glass house.
Yeah.
They don't realize how boxed in they are. And for them, through this process, the inner journeying process, then they can actually discover it for themselves, and they feel really empowered.
It's really interesting, Jane. In the talking about the boxed in, as free as I feel I live my life, I see where I start getting into those boxes where I might have a limiting boundary here somewhere, and it's like, man, I didn't think I did, but yes, I have. I can see that now. I've moved towards it maybe, and then it shows up, and I think, wow, okay, we'll move that. let's integrate that. So
Absolutely.
it's a constant thing to look at, I think, for all of us. No matter how aware, conscious, whatever we might call ourselves, and actually live that, there's still those frameworks that come in, that you start seeing these little boundaries you've put there, and that's limiting you in some way.
Very
And
much.
it's a good idea to just keep looking, because often they're there and we don't see them until we do look.
Yeah. You see, a lot of the time, our clients actually are not really thinking about how they operate. They only know the experience.
Yes.
So for us to be able to actually give them the opportunity to take a step back and go, well, where is it coming from? And how is it actually showing up in your life? One of the things I do with my clients, because I'm a great language person, I'm very tactile, as you can see.
It works that way.
It's I don't have to be all high tech. I can do it on the fly.
I love it.
And so one of the things that I show is with practitioners, healers, and clients alike, and I'll go, okay, so this is where mind tends to live life. And because a lot of people don't really think about the fact that mind only knows what mind only knows.
Yeah.
And that's where the human mind is. And so what happens when we start taking mind to the edge? It's very scary. That's uncomfortable. If we're not able to manage our mind or work with our mind, mind will keep us boxed in. Yeah. So this is where I personally see, and this is where the other coaches with the MasterKeys, they can work with their client's mind, their ego, and their essence, and literally tap into easily where the subconscious belief systems are, how they come about, why they're still there. But the other beautiful thing is, Mandy, they find out how they can release them.
Yes.
And it's the client, just like Krishnamurti says, it's the client that has the key.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so we take them through this inner journeying with TM, and the client actually is the explorer. They're the ones that discover it. And we, as the healer, are the witness. We're the facilitator and we're the witness. And the consciousness just shifts.
Yeah.
And you know that with the work that you do also. And many, many other. It's just, it's just, the flavor of what resonates.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. But it's beautiful watching the shifts. When you are a facilitator, you're holding space, and you giving these tools and taking them through those experiences with them. And there's those shifts, and it's, I just love it. I absolutely love it. The transformation from the time they walk into, like the 2-day workshop I've just run, from that day to the day they left, it was like, wow. And they were able to share that, and will share it with those around them out in the world and their families. It expands. It's that one drop.
Absolutely.
Rippling through, more than just those in the workshop. Really, it's great stuff.
It is. And I'm just writing something down because I've got inspiration, because
yes, great.
I tend to flow. So one of the things that I give clients and share with the coach, with the modern healer, to share with their client, is something that I developed myself about 20 years ago, when I found that I did not know how to say no.
Yeah, yes.
Still really I was still really struggling to say no. If it was an invitation and I was not feeling like going, I'd be going, because some of the people pleasing was still there.
I know, it's hard.
So I had to get over that. So I created this for myself. And because I'm such a visual, I share it. Now, excuse everybody if you're watching it. This is very rough, but it's like, it's high. So what I this is just a little kind of 1 minute technique, is that we literally get our clients or ourselves to stop what we're doing. We have to be noticing. We have to notice. It's learning how to be the witness of our life without judgment.
Yes.
Without judgment. And that's one of the big things with the master. We learn how to build that muscle of being the witness without judgment.
Yeah.
So if we are challenged or we're needing to make a decision or we're uncomfortable or whatever, it's so simple. It's so simple. We all do it in our own way, probably subconsciously. But it's all about simply stopping, pausing, breathing. Then we make the choice. But what's happening is we are making a conscious choice.
Yes.
Because we have two options. We can continue down the old path of reacting, and this is the old pattern, or we can choose to respond in a different way. We all do it. We all do it. This is nothing new. However, it's beautiful. It's like stop, pause, breathe, and make the choice.
Yes.
You make it consciously.
Yeah.
That's the magic. That's the key.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if our clients start to do that, I mean, we know ourselves, Mandy, that just shifts life.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we all did that every time we had to make a choice, our lives would just transform.
Yes. I know. And I was, you know, I mean, I know we've all played that out where we're just in the reaction. And I knew that for me, wanting to choose to respond, my triggers of reaction were too strong. So I did need to work on a lot of the emotional stuff running those to be able to actually stop, pause, breathe, and make a conscious choice to respond differently.
Absolutely.
So it takes a little bit to, you know, for some, you know, right there, but for others, sometimes it is that we might need to do a little bit of energy work around and emotional work around ourselves. But that's definitely changes the game, because what you're not doing is you're not creating the same old, like you were saying, and their response or their reaction is going to be the same again, as well as your reaction. So once you respond and you put something new in there, they then have the opportunity also to respond differently, and it changes the whole game plan.
Absolutely. And when you know, this is the beauty of neuroscience. We know that we literally have tracks in our brain, and this is what creates. I mean, you know, what is the brain is a map for the mind, and so mind loves a map.
Yes.
And it will just, as you say, it will just keep using and doing what the tracks are. We, you know, have to take that uncomfortable route to actually start changing it. When I saw something called tractography, which came out, you know, like the MRI scans of the brain, and it literally showed tracks, energy tracks, vibrational tracks in the brain, and the neuroscientists have developed it to look at neurological disorders. And of course, we know that if one of these tracks actually, if we stop going down that track, then pruning happens and it dissolves.
Yeah.
So this is why to be able to gift different ways of being is all that it needs to take. Just and that
absolutely, absolutely.
It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be huge. It's like one step at a time.
That's right. That's it. And a lot of people too, they can't take that big leap anyway. It is that I know I had to wean myself out of things and nudge myself into new things. I couldn't just make the big leap for whatever reason. But yeah, it's our comfort zones, isn't it? We're so used to playing in that playground, to move out of it's a wee bit daunting, but it is worth it, and it does inspire us to do more once you realize that actually that worked, and now I'm feeling a lot better and my life's running a lot smoother. There's still things to tweak, but I think I can do that. So you build your courage in knowing that those tools work and that you can carry on using them and create better in your life. It's beautiful. So Jane, how can people get in touch with you? And we will put links up on the recording when we put it out there. But you've just got your new website up and running.
Yes. We've the MasterKeys definitely demanded a new energy, and so it has been launched. It is the MasterKeys path.com.
Beautiful.
Because it is about each of us following our own path, being our authentic self, and having ways to ensure we can feel supported to maintain that path, or at least recognize if we're moving off it.
Yes. Yeah.
Which happens. And so thank you. I mean, certainly I offer coaching sessions and mentoring, but actually a big part of the work now that I'm blessed to be offering is actually training programs for modern healers, and I offer that online as well as occasionally in person as well to teach. And we have a coach certificate program for those who want to learn some new tools to support their work in clinic. And now we've got some facilitators out there who are teaching workshops to the public. So it's very exciting. And it's just, I'm simply playing my part.
Yeah.
As we each do. As Shakespeare said, what was it? All the world's a stage. And
yes. True. Oh, this is so lovely, Jane. And I honestly just always think of you with so much love and wish you all the very, very best with all of this. I know it's just expanding out there. You don't really even need that buff behind it, but it's gorgeous to see you moving this through and expanding it out there for everyone and offering it to everyone who wants to take it up. So beautiful work.
Yeah, it's a good solid foundation. It's based, as we know, on decades of work and experience, falling over, picking oneself up again, but really nutting through some really good stuff that's out there and bringing it together with a new energy. It is exciting. Thank you, Mandy, very much for hosting me and giving the MasterKeys as well a little bit of a hello out there to the world.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. It's awesome to speak with you and chat for this hour or so. So thank you so much, Jane. And as I said, all the very best. Much love.
Same to you. Your beautiful work that you do, Mandy.
Thank you.
Yeah, you just keep on being amazing.
Oh.